Hello and welcome back to Select Start. I'm Andrea.
And I'm Cobra.
And we are playing Tyranny. So last time we were talking to Verse, but we weren't able to really get through her entire dialogue.
Yeah, she's got basically a novel in there to read through.
And I really don't want to miss all of that because it's pretty cool. I like listening to the backstory of all of these people.
Wonderful.
So today I think we'll just continue going through her backstory.
All right, here we go. And then hopefully it'll not take too long and we can start talking to Fifth Eye and see what they need.
All right.
What do you need?
Okay. Tell me about your time with the Scarlet Chorus.
The Scarlet Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the Howling Mob.
Tell me about your training.
For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters.
Tell me about the Scarlet Furies.
The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening.
Sounds wonderful.
It is, as I remind myself all the time. The most important day of my life was when the voices of Nerat recognized my potential and sent me to Scarlet Fury training.
You earned your name? If you think a simple farmer from the Tears would name her child Verse, I suggest you visit my old village. Most of them were walking around with surnames like Barrel or Fish. Not the most creative bunch. She smirks and shakes her head. The chorus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn back a name through great deeds, usually murderous ones. That's why you see choirmen walking around with names like Stink Mouse or Face First. There's probably a good reason for it. The voices of Nerat gave me this name. When the Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle, he doesn't hear war. He hears a symphony. And when I fight with blade or bow, he told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else's, and contains too many parts to be easily defined. When you least suspect it, the Archon of Secrets can be downright charming.
Now I want to meet Stink Mouse.
Yeah, or Face First.
No, just Stink Mouse.
Just Stink Mouse. Yeah, what's his story?
Yeah.
Or her story? What's your real name? Oh, I've gained fear. That question isn't worthy of either of us, but I'll entertain it out of pity. You already know me by my real name. It's Verse. Are you looking for whatever arbitrary collections of letters and sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? Then you're out of luck. I buried that name a long time ago. Long by my standards, anyway. Tell me about your weapon skills. When I was just a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was a natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room. The Scarlet Chorus gave me opportunities to further educate myself. My sisters were always a bit surprised by how quickly I took to different fighting styles. She frowns for a moment, and then shakes off whatever she wanted to say. Back to my questions about the Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
Before you hesitated when you brought up your fighting styles. Why? Noticed that, did you? It's a matter that I'm not used to discussing, mostly because I don't know how. I mentioned before that I'm good at picking up different weapons and fighting techniques. The truth is, I'm better than good. I could flay a man so cleanly that I'd leave a single strip of skin behind. He wouldn't even need to be tied down. That was one of the first things I discovered about myself after joining the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat recognized it in me as well, which is why he singled me out for the Scarlet Fury training. Go on. My sisters were like the masters of their fighting forms, but since they died, my style has changed. Almost like I could kill as they did. I could pick up a bow, a lance, anything really. I could tear someone to pieces with a weapon that I only watched my sisters use. I don't know what it could mean, and that worries me. Who are your sisters? Who were they would be most appropriate. 3 Whispers, Red Geyser, and Seeking Sheath. Best fighters I ever met. There wasn't a foe we couldn't take down together. Our fighting styles complemented perfectly, so we divided up the killing work like bards sharing a song. At least, we used to. She presents a solemn salute. Oh, tell me about... well, what happened to them? We were scouting around Vendrian's Well during the siege, back when we only suspected the guard of organizing in secret. My sisters and I came upon a group of them. Or, Kairos knows, maybe they found us. No one said anything. We drew iron and bronze. That was when everything went wrong. I was supposed to take point and occupy the guard with a dance of blade work. Something disorienting while my sisters picked their marks. I hesitated. Lost my nerve. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I froze with my weapon drawn. My sisters fought on without me, but they were off balance. Like whatever I had was catching. They died, and I lived. My sisters were relying on me to lead the dance, and I failed them. It is understandable. Caution stayed your hand. Oh, I've gained fear. Oh my god. Caution? Save your caution for the disfavored. If we showed caution, could we have taken the bastard city or the gates of judgment? Could we have conquered the tears with anything less than our blood boiling over with rage, the song of battle ripping from our lungs? Hesitation is a rot. It's unbecoming of any chorus member, and unheard of in a Scarlet Fury. I would cut it from my body and cauterize the wound if only I knew its source. She grimaces once more and turns inward, contemplating. Any thoughts on the topic, or are we just here to open old wounds? Any idea why you lost your nerve in battle? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time, I lost the dance. The song of murder drew silent. Instead, there was only rigid, organized control.
A song of murder.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like the security of a phalanx to me. You should practice a more orderly form of combat if it suits you so well.
Even if the Scarlet Chorus fought in formation, it wouldn't be anything like your hideous shield wall. She looks at him in disgust. I have more questions about your sisters. Go ahead. I miss those girls, but I'm not so bad off that I can't talk about them. Tell me about 3 Whisperers. She was as calm as the surface of a pond, and light on her feet. More than one foe tripped and fell on their own blade due to Whisper's crafty footwork. Verse lets her gaze slip away from you as a fleeting moment of sorrow steals her attention. Tell me about Red Geyser. A one-woman siege breaker. She would launch herself at her foes like a battering ram. Not even a disfavored phalanx could have withstood that dumb, suicidal wench. Kairos' eyes, but she was something to behold. Verse slams her fist into her palm. Tell me about Seeking Sheath. That girl could pass a spear through 12 rings from the far side of a battlefield. Kairos' help any foes who approached her marching single file. She made a game of spitting as many soldiers as possible on the same javelin. Back to my questions about the Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
Who are the Scarlet Chorus leaders? Well, the Voices of Nerat is the spider at the center of the web. He acts like the army belongs to him, and he only lends it to Kairos because it suits his purposes. Both of which are true. The rest are all offshoots of the Voices, like the Fifth Eye. Once you get down to the rank and file, the Scarlet Chorus organize around a motley bunch of gang bosses who call the shots. What do you want to know? Tell me about the Voices of Nerat. He's a madman, but that never stopped me from following his orders. Even in a legion as cutthroat as the Chorus, you know better than to get on the Voice's bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. If he ever seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerisms shift over to someone else, someone who's probably long since dead. Better to die than become part of the Voices. Ooh. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices of Nerat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability, beyond his apparent madness, is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. What makes the Voices of Nerat so powerful?
I mean, aside from being able to, eat his foes and gain all of their knowledge.
Yeah, besides that.
Yeah.
He's the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say that he knows more than every sage in the Tears combined, and that he can think 1,000 steps ahead of the other Archons. Every sage. Oh yeah, they were like mages, kind of.
Yeah, the ones in the Vellum Citadel, I think.
Yeah, the ones that I wanted to get information from before I burned them to death.
Yeah, you burned them.
It would be putting it lightly to say he's never alone under that disapproving helmet of his. If you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the Fifth Eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor and speaks with that reedy voice, but I'll tell you what I know. When your world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The Voices of Nerat has eyes in abundance. Some that he keeps close, and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the Fifth Eye was before he came into the Archon's service, now he's just a half-mad, jabbering speech hole. A bodily function. In other words, an eye.
I wouldn't classify an eye as a jabbering speech hole, but...
Yeah, or a
taken.
bodily function, yeah. What was that bodily function that just happened, Aaron?
It's an eye, Andrea.
Oh. Weird. Wait, Nerat's eyes are people? Maybe they used to be people. Whatever they were, they're eyes now. Folks like to whisper that the Voices of Nerat takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts that they don't need. She makes a quick, snipping gesture with her fingers. I once heard the Voices and the Fifth Eye in a tent together. The Voices kept screaming, "Redundancies! Redundancies!" Every time another gout of blood would spray on the canvas walls. I can't even guess what he was cutting out. How many eyes does the Archon of Secrets have?
Also, we're saying this with the fifth eye literally right next to us.
Really? Is
It's
that the fifth
Guys,
eye?
I'm right here.
Christ, what are you talking about me right in front of me? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19. Some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in thoughtful disapproval. It's one of those questions that drives you mad if you allow yourself to think about it for too long. Hey, you could be one of Tunon's eyes. Bet you never thought of that. I did think of that.
Yeah, I did.
I thought of that. Back to my other questions about the Scarlet Chorus leaders. Tell me about the gang bosses. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to command until someone gets wise and stabs them in the back. Tipcap leads the Filthy Lambs. Lox leads the Rusted Harps. Sharp used to lead the Bone Boys. Couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. Ooh. Waterwheel orders around the Hairy Hunters. Halls for Shit leads the Lazy Melkins. Then Scurvy Queen, Finger Food, and Wild Gash collectively lead the Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation.
Finger food.
Finger Food. The Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation.
It's a very colorful troop, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm forgetting at least a dozen more. I've even led a gang or two in my day. They never survive very long, so no point in getting attached. You led a gang? Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies at the disfavored labor camps. But I was never that interested in the power struggle of those grunts and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like an apex predator. Here I am. So when I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me, at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around wherever they ended up. Back to my questions about the Scarlet Chorus. I like your curiosity. Let me ask you about something else.
What do you need to know?
My goodness, there really is a novel here, isn't there?
We could do the whole episode just on verse,
Oh,
for real.
I guess we have to.
Yeah. Let's see. I have thoughts about your combat abilities.
Do you now? Call me intrigued. You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
I'm gonna say your talent reminds me of the voices of Nerat. Because that's true.
Yes.
I hope I didn't hear you say that, Fatebinder. Because the implication is more than either of us is prepared to handle. The voices of Nerat is a monster. We both know that Taratus has never seen a creature more despicable than him. Never mind that he's kind of my boss.
Absorbs the mind.
Yeah, we already know that one.
Okay. I'm not comparing you to the voices, only this talent you exhibit.
My little talent that latches onto my friends and bleeds them dry, you mean? Because I never asked for it. I've traveled with the chorus for years. I've seen what the voices can do, and it scares me, all right? The idea that everything I am could be reduced to that. If I had that kind of power, if I could become like him, I don't know how I could live with myself. I'd rather drown myself in a camp latrine.
It's
Wow.
really interesting, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you might think that an evil character who just loves killing and slitting throats and blood and thinks it's the best thing in the world would have no problem just consuming people like that. But something about what he does, she finds completely repulsive.
Well, she kind of mentions that she doesn't like the fact that he's been reduced to nothing, basically.
Oh, you think like just scraps of his original self remaining?
Yeah, I think what she's afraid of is that he's become fragmented.
I see.
He's become like nothing.
Lost in all the voices,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mm-hmm. He's become too many people, and now it's like he's just some schizophrenic crazy. But I'm gonna ask her why.
Yeah.
Why such an aversion?
Because the voices isn't... I mean, can you even call him human anymore? Everything I am has led me to this point. I joined the chorus, fought to survive, grew stronger than I ever knew I could be. I never needed to steal anything that made me, me. I don't want to be better by being someone else. The Voices is stronger than anyone and terrifying enough to lead the chorus, but he's also an overgrown parasite. And someday he'll stuff himself so full of voices that he'll burst.
You don't have to become like him. Just be selective.
I'm sure he had the same idea when he got started. But you know what they say about power? It's usually wielded by assholes.
That's not what I'd heard about power, but
not
I
really,
like it.
But it sounds just fine. I'll
My
keep
sisters
using that
died.
one.
You should have seen us. We were amazing together. I didn't mean to take away what made them special, but I did it all the same. And let me tell you, it felt terrible. If I lived a century, I might never figure out how to make that happen again. And more importantly, I don't want to.
How is it that you picked up your fallen sister's weapon skills? That's been on my mind for some time, and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but Verse frowns in deep thought. Scarlet Furies share a sort of link. It's how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything, but our emotions and intentions sync up without words. She starts worrying over one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade back into its sheath. Is this link arcane in nature? I would say it's emotional. The chorus is more interested in passion. Magic is just a convenient tool. The one thing I always knew was that I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them from further away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked out of my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden. But some of their slime residue is still there. Does that make any sense? I would take comfort in that. Your sisters live on in you, or you should exploit this skill to its fullest potential.
They're both interesting.
Yeah. I think Beanhilda is a climber. So
And
she would-
pragmatic.
yeah. She would say, you should exploit this skill to its fullest
Yeah,
potential.
she's not looking to comfort Verse here.
Yeah. Oh, I gained loyalty.
Nice.
Skill? Not sure if I'd call it that. There's something parasitic about it. But I take your point. There's an advantage to this thing I'm experiencing. I'm not above using it against our foes.
So you've actually gained so much favor with Verse now that you gained a new ability.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And you can also get new abilities from gaining fear with characters as well.
Interesting. Wait, so fear is good?
Both fear, I mean, you are, an evil character.
Yeah.
And so fear can be a good thing.
Okay. No matter how you paint it, some part of my sisters broke off in me when they died, and now I'm left to deal with it. Just another day in the tears, right? What are your thoughts on the disfavored? A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in delusions of honor they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the North Empire where they belonged. Then we could get some real work done in the tiers. What do you think of their leader, Graven Ash? I've seen enough of that high-minded braggart to know that he's all duty. Nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you would think he's afraid of battle.
Watch your words. I would not hear of you talking of the Archon this way. A growl rips through Barrick's armor, accompanied by sounds of bending metal.
Is he made of metal?
No, he's got metal wrapped around him, they had said before.
Was I even talking to you, junkyard? And no, I will not.
It happened in the Edict of Storms,
Yeah.
if you recall.
You would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do no wrong. What about Ash's connection to his troops? Graven Ash protects. His soldiers keep harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that the disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield, but that only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people.
Stranger than healing mortal wounds? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the exact thing that it says there.
Oh my god, I didn't even read that.
Stranger than heal battlefield wounds? I don't think so. Suit yourself. I'm just putting it out there, and I don't see you coming up with any great explanation for a soldier who bounces back from a killing wound. Who would you see take Ash's place? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out among themselves. Graven Ash is this aging figurehead of what should be a constantly changing role. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man. Kick his cane out from under him. Remind the Legion what strength looks like. The voices of Narat changes. He's a multifaceted gem, and the chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. I suppose you have a better idea how to handle the disfavored forces? Of course I do. First I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the locals to bolster the front lines, because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. You take away everything that makes them strong. It's a damn fine alternative from where I'm standing. If all that strength couldn't end a siege, what good is it to anyone? Would that be so wrong? The chorus is accountable for itself in ways that the disfavored aren't. Our weak die, and the strong fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth. Though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. Back to my questions about the disfavored. If we must. Do you think the disfavored have a chance to succeed in the tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them the disfavored's best challenge. Even if they succeeded, it might be too late to redeem themselves. The chorus have already impacted the conquest more than the disfavored have, or likely ever will.
And how many thousands of choirmen did your victories cost you along the way? Barrick clears his throat, the grating sound echoing in his helmet.
As many as it took, junk heap. What are your thoughts on their battle strategies? They've really got something with that phalanx maneuver. A formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly, and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactic over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear the music of battle and organize ourselves into works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routine.
You speak of routine and discipline as if they were weaknesses. The shield wall keeps soldiers alive. Chorus recruits fly to their deaths like moths to a candle flame.
To burn out while covered in the blood of your enemies is more honorable than the slow march to a dignified retirement. Would you rather feel the bite of a spear while hewing an axe through your enemy's skull, or the clench of your heart's betrayal while you sit up in bed, aged and alone?
Oof. In the shadowy depths of his armor, Beric makes no sound. He doesn't even appear to be breathing.
Couldn't argue with that one. Let me ask about something else. If we must. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The Tearsmen can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to flay them. They need to understand. Whether we unify the Tears under a shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. That's an interesting view of the conquest. It's a pragmatic one, anyway. The Scarlet Chorus caught onto the idea at the beginning of the campaign. If no one objects that we're here to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts, that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and the Chorus to interpret as they will. The Overlord is concerned with results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at a pleasing memory.
Oh my god.
Wow. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. No, there isn't, Fatebinder. I suspect that we're going to make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. She looks at you with renewed interest. Did you fight at any notable battles? I spent some time in Azure. Towards the end of the war, Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Cairn's orders, but we never found out for sure. Let's change the subject. Oh, should I duel her?
Yeah.
Okay. You learned a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Care to duel?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice.
Let's try dual-wielding knives, or how about bows? I'm gonna drop bows on her.
That's
If
right.
you want to risk becoming a pincushion, it's your funeral. But you're right about one thing. This will be fun.
Oh, I gained 5 bow skill ranks. You take turns loosing blunted arrows, using each other as moving targets. Verse is an accomplished runner, and swats the few projectiles that get close out of the air. When her turn arrives, it takes all of your energy to keep up with her relentless volley of projectiles. You observe her technique and take a valuable lesson to heart.
You held your own. Call me impressed. Need anything else, or did I tire you out?
I want to ask about our travels.
What did you have in mind?
What do you think of our present circumstances? Well, there's an edict hanging over our heads. As far as I'm concerned, the incompetence of the disfavored got us into this mess, and it will take the fury of the Scarlet Chorus to get us out of it. In other words, nothing ever changes. What do you think of our travel companions? Anyone in particular?
The only one who's here.
Me, Beanhilda. I mean Beric. What do you think of Beric? Well, he's, I'll give him some due credit. He's more complicated than he looks. He's still an intolerant and unapologetic bastard, but that's more his business than mine. Back to my previous questions.
Go ahead, Fatebinder.
Oh my goodness, that's
Wow,
the
we
end
finished
of
her.
the saga of verse for now.
Wow, that was a lot. But we've learned so much about Verse and
We
the
have.
Scarlet Chorus.
How do you
I
like
thought
her?
That was pretty cool. I quite like her. She's a very interesting character, bloodthirsty.
Yeah, and it gives you a lot more insight into the Scarlet Chorus, right?
Yeah, this is really interesting.
There seems to be some, like, reason to the madness, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to see, like, before we were looking at the Scarlet Chorus from the disfavored point of view,
Yes.
which is that they're a mess.
Yep.
And now you're kind of seeing, well, they're, like, self-organizing.
Yeah, exactly. The people in the chorus don't feel that way. They're like, okay, we just get to do what we want, and, the strongest people survive, and all the useless ones just go.
Yeah,
So-
these guys are, like, crazy artists who dance around with knives.
Yeah, at Burning Man, and they have Burning Man names.
Yeah, they have Burning Man names. And
like
they,
finger food.
Yeah, and
and
they
Stink
wear
Mouse.
feathers. Yeah. They get a name from that they earn a name for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess that's all the time we have for today. I think it's a good time to end here.
Yeah, probably. It's gone on for a very long time. Sorry, people.
So if you like this video, please hit like down below. If you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe.
Thanks so much for watching.
Bye.